Hello, this is IP Stories by 4IP Council, the podcast about innovation and intellectual property. Join us and you will hear about the journeys through invention, creation, and IP understanding of our guests. I am Axel.
And I'm Marta, and we have with us today Magali Touroude, founder of YesMyPatent and specialized in technology and media. Hello, Magali, and thank you so much for joining us today in IP Stories. I would like to start with your personal story. What sparked your interest in intellectual property, and how did you end up focusing on technology protection?
Hi, nice to be here. I've always been very curious and fascinated by different fields and how they connect and interact. And during my engineer study, I was a biotech engineer at the beginning. IP immediately appealed to me because it's at the crossroads of science, law, economics, and I discovered even more recently geopolitics. So IP was the perfect fit for me. It allows me to engage with the cutting-edge technologies as quantic, AI, biotech, understand the legal frameworks to protect them, and also to build strategies and maybe sometimes influence global competition and the French position and Europe position in innovation. So my academic background reflects that because I'm an engineer, I said it, followed by CEPI, French and European Patent Attorney. I did an executive MBA at EDEC Business School. And last year, IHEDN, which is the Institute for Advanced Studies in National Defense. And this blend of curiosity and a desire to work at the intersection of all these disciplines led me to specialize in tech protection and especially deep tech innovations protection. And every project is a new adventure when you're working in SMR, which is a small nuclear reactor, or quantum qubits, or if you're working on AI, you really help innovators, you help innovation, you help your country, your region, and you turn the ideas in a real world impact.
That's very interesting because many patent attorneys in the US have this type of profile. They start as engineers and then they decide to become an attorney. And in Europe, and especially in France, that's quite rare. That's quite a unique profile. And in addition to this, you have this business acumen. So that's a very good blend. But how did your experience at L'Oréal and major IP firms shape your approach when founding YesMyPatent?
I started my career in two major IP firms for 10 years. And I have to say, I learned here the rigor, the precision, and how to navigate in complex legal systems in very large portfolio, international lawsuits. So I'm really glad that I had the chance to learn how to work and to be an IP patent attorney there. And then when I was patent manager at L'Oréal, it gave me the insight of what is the problems of the clients, how large corporations view IP as a strategic asset. I remember the VP of research of L'Oréal saying to me the first day he met me, IP, yeah, nice. You bring money to L'Oréal, and I was like, what? How I bring money? I cost money, and IP can be, a leverage for innovation. Can bring money to the corp, and these experiences highlight for me a gap how smaller companies, SMEs, startups struggle to access quality IP support. They don't have the budget of a L'Oréal. And that's what inspired me to create YesMyPatent. With more digitalization, less overheads, I worked this for 2 years in MBA, and for example, the whole team of YesMyPatent is working full remote since day one, 10 years ago. We only work with experienced IP attorneys with at least 10 years of experience. And this is the whole thing is to make high level IP expertise accessible to small companies and to big corp, practical, transparent, but for all. We are in France, we call it a société à mission, which is the French B Corp. And our raison d'être, our mission is to be accessible for all innovators to protect their IP. And this is truly important for me.
My God, you really were like pioneers, starting with full remote. That's really amazing.
Yes, 10 years ago. Imagine when we had clients and we tell them, oh, you have to download Zoom, ZOO. I mean, nobody knows that. And we had to say, no, we have, you can't meet us. We can rent if you really want to. We can rent, a desk somewhere in Paris. But yeah, let's do a video conference. It was very, very new. And then COVID came and it was much easier for us.
Yeah, now everyone assumes that it's like the normal.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I can see the attractiveness in building your own company, but I mean, still, you left quite a big company. You created a small firm to build a team, and I would like to ask you, why become an entrepreneur and move out of your comfort zone in a totally different sector?
I've always had a strong drive to innovate, not just in technology, but in how we work and how we serve clients, And over the years, I've developed some truly innovative ideas for transforming the way IP firms operate. I remember even in L'Oréal, I was thinking having AI, but it was in 2012, AI to draft patents when it was always the same field, like anti-aging, cosmetic cream or whatever. And for IP firms, I wanted them more agile, transparent, client-focused. And I realized when I left L'Oréal that if I tried to convince traditional firms where I used to work, I know them very well. If I try to confirm them to embrace these changes, it will take years to convince all the partners and with no guarantee of success. So instead, I decided it was better to build a POC, proof of concept myself. And, if I had failed, I would have failed alone. But thankfully it was a success. So I was very happy about it. But actually, YesMyPatent wasn't my first entrepreneurial adventure. About 15 years ago, I co-founded an IP firm, which I later sold. And that experience gave me both the confidence and the financial freedom to dream bigger with YesMyPatent. With YesMyPatent, I just wanted, to push the boundaries even further, try to create a model that truly democratizes and access to IP protection for startups. It was really at the beginning for startups. Now, half of our clients are big corp, but at the beginning, it was really meant to be for SMEs and startups. And entrepreneurship has always been part of my DNA. I think it's the best way to turn bold ideas. Maybe you're the only one to trust, like teletravail, remote work at this time, and turn them into reality and have maybe a real impact on a profession like patent attorneys.
At For IP Council, we try very hard to convince SMEs and startups to try to leverage intellectual property rights. And it is challenging, because many of them are just saying, oh, no, we don't have the time, we don't have the expertise, we don't know how to do it. And that's why I admire that you are trying very hard to target those companies, to convince them.
Yes.
And I expect from your experience to know what are the common IP mistakes they are doing, or maybe, so what are the most common IP mistakes that innovative companies make when entering the market, in your opinion?
The biggest mistake is underestimating the importance of IP. The second one is waiting too long to address it and to contact us. Many startups, they think protection is expensive. It can come later. It's not critical. But in fact, in IP, as you know, Axel, timing is critical, especially before any public disclosure. And the common error is also not exploring the full range of IP tools. They only think, trademarks and patent. And when you're working, for example, in quantum or quantum computing or AI, you have to think copyright to protect the source code plus patent. You have to zoom out, to see maybe it's not the best idea to patent, of course, because you will publish information. Maybe it's interesting to patent just a small part of your invention. And you have to align IP strategy with business goals. And sometimes simply not seeking the right advice early can be very costly.
I would like to go back to what you mentioned about your mission about making innovation protection accessible to all. Democratizing protection for innovation. And I would like to know, how do you bridge the gap between complex legal tools and non-expert innovators, as we were mentioning?
Yeah, this is the hard part, in fact. My parents, my grandparents, my aunt, everybody in my family are teachers, so it was easier to me to think accessible. But one of my key approach is to make intellectual property accessible and engaging, especially through short educational videos. This is a thing that I'm trying for 9 months. I started in September. I regularly share these videos. It's 40 seconds on LinkedIn, in YouTube, in Instagram, even TikTok. My son laughs each time he sees me in TikTok. And here I break down a specific IP concept or practical tip, and trying to be in simple terms. My goal is that my mother, which is a Spanish teacher, understand it. So when you're working on essential means for infringement, my mother has to understand it, and then I'm happy. At first glance, IP might seem like a niche topic, but when you make the explanations relatable and easy to understand, sometimes with fun fact, or you try to be fun, actually attracts a wide audience. The number speaks for themselves. In just 9 months, my video have reached over 20 million views, imagine, for essential means in infringement. And this shows that if you make IP accessible, people are generally interested and eager to learn how it can impact their project and even their business. What you're doing here, Marta and Axel, it's also reducing the gap between this very, very hard and complex tool that is IP to people that can understand it.
Yeah, that's so important. In for IP, because I'm the one that doesn't have an IP background, I'm the filter. I do the same job as your mom. So if I understand it can go out.
So, Magali, what I understand is you are tackling something that is like seen as the future. I mean, quantum technologies, deep tech, and it is very difficult, but it involves sovereignty, national interest, European interest. So what are some of the biggest IP challenges that companies you're advising are now facing nowadays on deep tech and quantum technologies?
Yes, Axel. In deep tech, the technology is complex, and moreover, the development cycles are long, and the global competition is intense. You're dealing with nations, not only companies, It's not just business strategy. It's IP has become a geopolitical tool, and countries like China, for example, are actively supporting innovation and their companies, and even the patent filings. They're giving money for patent filing and patent filing abroad. It's a part of a broader race. It's an arm race, for technological leadership for the next 20 years. In quantum technology that you mentioned, we've been an increase of 2,000% increase in patent filings in the last decade, and 68% of those patent filings, are coming from United States and China. So it's not only IBM versus Quandela or whatever. It's US versus China versus Europe, and this shows that patent portfolios are now strategic assets, not just for companies but for nations. It's influence economic power, global influence. We all see, every year, like the statistics, which country is the more innovative, and what is the key indicator patent filing. Oh, China is the most innovative country in the world because they file 1.4 million patents. So for deep tech companies, it's essential to realize that this race is not only them versus their competitors. It's more global, and that the competitive landscape is shaped for both corporate and national strategies, to factor this into their own IP approach. It's very important. They are not alone.
It helps me to promote the SME Fund, that is a great tool from the European Commission that is managed by the EYPO, and at 4IP we're trying to promote it as much as possible, not only for patent filing, trademark, copyright. So I suppose that your startups that you're advising are using this or not?
Yes, but problem is after a few weeks, I think, maybe month, few weeks, there were no money anymore. And when you compare to China, for example, the Shenzhen is giving, I think it's 2 million RMB, it's about 250,000 euros to internationalize one patent family when it's in the list of technology that is very cutting edge, like AI or quantum tech. So this is SME Fund is a very good initiative, but I think it needs to be reinforced, and maybe we can focus the money on a list of technology that is maybe really important for Europe, and for Europe sovereignty can be a thing to think about.
So the next question I have for you, Magali, is you teach as a science program and engineering schools. What do students find most surprising about IP once they start learning about it?
Students are often surprised how broad IP is. It's not just patents. It's also copyright, it's also trademarks, it's also design. We have copyright for source code that they had no idea. There is the trade secrets and more. And they also realize that IP is not just a legal issue, but a business one, with real impact on capital raising, on competitiveness and growth. And many discover for the first time that IP can make or break a startup. What is very funny is sometimes they think that I'm an attorney, a regular attorney. And when I explain that, like us, for example, I'm an engineer, or I did national defense study, they are quite surprised that IP can be all of that and not only a legal tool.
One thing that is very interesting when I'm teaching to my students, innovation, IPR, I have the same feedback. They believe that IP is boring. And then when you start explaining, you say, but you can do all of that with intellectual property rights. And they are amazed. And then I said, you know what? Even the EPO is hiring engineers.
Yeah, exactly. I'm always very happy when one or two students at the end ask me about the CP and how to become patent attorney. I say, yes, I did it.
But do you believe that enough is being done in France and in the EU to teach engineers about the benefits of IPRs?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that not an engineer or a PhD in science should come, in the business world without at least 10 hours of a course in IP, meaning not, IP theory like learning the article, but, know how to search in EspaceNet, in the patent database, how to read a patent, and that, real basic tool that in a few hours you can transfer easily to a young one. And I think that not enough is done. Yeah.
All right, and Magali, regarding this need that we have to improve our position internationally, you are helping startups and companies filling their patents, but in terms of defending them, do you think our society and governments should be doing more as well?
Yes, of course. We need to foster a culture of filing and valuing IP in Europe, but also to defend IP rights, because once you have a patent and you're a startup, you know that maybe you will not have 100,000 euros to enforce it. And this may be a fund, a European fund, French fund for French companies, maybe an insurance. I know that this topic has been worked already a few times, but we really need to have a better support for SMEs and startups, because they are not in position to enforce most of the time their patents. And even if they're working in close collaboration with their investors, and trying to find a way to fund this, even if we as patent attorney are trying, our best to reduce our cost, if the competitors is a US company, for example, and they arrive with US attorneys with millions of billing fees, if our clients, if SMEs, if startups do not have any help from Europe or from France, they will not be able to survive. So it's really, for me, it's the next battle. The first one was, be aware that you need to protect your IP. Yeah, good. Be able to make patents accessible to all. Yes, that was our mission. But the next mission for the next 10, 15 years will be how to defend these patents. And that costs a lot. So we really need help. I'm thinking that maybe AI tools will also help us to reduce the costs, and that will be the future of the profession.
That's a very good point, because at European level, we know that we have the SME Fund helping filing patent applications and other IPRs. But because there is no fund helping the SMEs and the startups to defend, it shows that there is something missing. There's a gap. And I cannot stop thinking of the possibility of creating a European sovereign fund that will be dedicated to this task. We have the single market, so everything that goes in the single market should be checked, and we will have this possibility. Maybe that was one of the proposals that you could make to the European Commission, and maybe lead a new initiative.
Yes. No, but of course, and not giving the money to any inventions. It's not about that, but it's maybe help some innovations and some companies that help the Europe sovereignty. Of course, this is a very good point.
So innovation is evolving fast, and we know that a patent lifetime is about 20 years. But so innovation in AI and quantum is even moving faster. what do you think IP professionals need to prepare for? So being prepared for, or what do they need to prepare in the next 5 to 10 years?
Emerging fields like AI, quantum computing, biotech are raising new questions about patentability, ownership, and even ethics. IP professionals need to be even more agile than we were. I remember working 22 years ago about the patentability of life, of genes, but now it's moving faster. It's all multidisciplinary. It's the cross between robotics and AI and biotech and chemistry and quantum. And the patent attorneys are going to be really challenged by AI tools for search report, for search prior art, for mapping landscape, of course, for drafting patents, reviewing contracts. So I think that they have to be prepared to be continuously learning and to be adaptable, and that will be key. But I'm positive because I think that our profession, we are used to continuously learn, because once we were scientists, then we learn, how to work and pass our law exam and patent attorney exam while working. So, why not having AI course, every year to be always, at the page, we say la page.
Okay. So Magali, what is very interesting is we have seen over the years some evolutions. So the EPO has been working very hard with the member states, and now we have the UPC, for example. So do you think that the current European patent system is well equipped to support breakthrough technologies, or is a reform needed?
Yeah, there have been positive steps, like, as you said, the UPC, the Unitary Patent Court, and the Unitary Patent, of course. But the system can, still be slow and a bit rigid, especially for fast-moving technologies. I think we need more flexibility and faster granting procedures, especially for disruptive innovations, to remain competitive globally. It's sometimes hard to explain to our clients that it will take 3 to 5 years to see the patent granted. And sometimes they are not finding the patent because of that. They're saying, okay, but you know what, in 5 years, we will be, in version, I don't know how many, 7. So it's not interesting. If it was 6 months or a year, I know that they will be, willing to grant, to file more patent application, and to maybe to protect more globally their innovations.
Well, I'm afraid we are reaching the end of the interview, but before we go, I have one final question for you, Magali. So if you could give just one piece of advice to tech startups in their earliest stages when it comes to IP, what would it be?
Don't treat IP as a box to tick, like we see in due diligence. Oh, okay, IP is done. Make it more like a core part of your strategy from day one, maybe sometimes from before day one of the creation of the startup, protect before you disclose anything, and seek expert advice early. I prefer as a patent attorney to say to a client that he came too early and that he has to come back, in 6 months, than to say to him that he came too late. And sometimes I have to play the fireman. It's not very, no, I don't like that. The right IP decision, at the right time, it can open doors for funding, partnerships, and long-term success. But, don't forget, I always say that to my clients and my team, don't forget that the monopoly belongs to the first to file the patent, not the first to invent.
Well, thank you so much, Magali, for your time and your expertise. I really wish that more SMEs and startups will benefit from YesMyPatent. And I'm looking forward, to the next step, next innovation, thanks to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Axel. Thank you, Martha.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to IP Stories by 4IP Council. Visit our website on 4ipcouncil.eu to find out more and check out the links mentioned during this episode. If you liked it, remember to share and subscribe.